Just the sound also?
So, I can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right. So I will continue with my speech, and I have 5 children who are all married, and I have 3 grandchildren and 3 grandpuppies. And I would say that I live in a mini United Nations family because my children have intermarried with the Syrian, South African, American, and British. And therefore, that has made me learn to be more flexible, resilient, and that has made me even be a better communicator and leader in my journey. I would like to say that part of the long and winding road that I have experienced is moving from the Philippines, as I am a Filipina, and going to the Middle East, experiencing the long and winding road of challenges, struggles. But most of all, I'm so thankful for the experience because I have learned to accept, to appreciate, and to love all the different leadership styles, culture, and traditions. And what I am today, I'm really thankful because of all these experiences. Another long and winding road that I have experienced is pursuing my passion in community service. As I have been doing it in the Philippines, I had the privilege to do it also in the Middle East. I have been involved with the community of Filipinas married to Arabs, and with that community, we help them with their legal, marital problems, and other issues that we could be of support to them. Another community project that we have done is working on the community and leadership projects of those who are in the refugee centers, especially among the women. And every Ramadan, which is the fasting season for the Muslims, we conduct events for the orphans so that they could also partake in having good fun and eating good food. And so far, we have been successful about this. Finally, another long and winding journey is being part of Toastmasters because you may all agree that it has helped us mix with no more nationalities, know more about the leadership style, and just get to know more people. Because I believe that the door that they were talking about, the Beatles were talking about, for me, my interpretation is building relationships. That door that if we open it to anyone, we could always do that. And now I would like to say that with all these, have you ever thought of saying hello to your neighbor? When was the last time you said hello? Have you ever thought of saying hello to your teacher who has made a big impact on you? What about to a long lost relative whom you haven't seen before and you just want to say, hi, I care for you? And finally, what about for those who have been ill? Have you asked them how they are today? Have you let them know that you care? Because after all, this is all about building relationships, and building relationships in this world matters a lot. No matter how good we are in social media, in Twitter, in Facebook, I believe that building personal relationship will always matter as long as we live. And let me now conclude this with a song, the conclusion of the song of the long and winding road. But still they lead me back to the long, winding road. You left me waiting here a long, long time ago. Don't leave me standing here. Lead me to your door. Let us build relationships. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is not other one than the District 27 membership and future quality director, and one of our founder members, Brenda. Brenda is also, I just discovered, and have been from March, guide, one of the guides, and I hope she will tell us something about the other side of the mirror, how it is to be a guide and help 10 clubs at the same time. I would like very much to try to see a little bit more of your face. Can you put some lights on your face if possible and not behind? Yes, like this. A lot better now.
Morning.
So her title is Me Guide.
Me Guide. Good morning, everyone. Morning, fellow Toastmasters. So my goal today, I talked with Julie via Facebook, and one of the things that we had talked about is sharing the experiences. And so because I've been lucky enough to become a guide in District 27, as Paul mentioned, as George mentioned, we are a pilot district. So becoming a guide for me was very important, largely because I'm always, like probably most of you, wanting to grow and wanting to learn more. And I felt Pathways would provide me that opportunity, along with the ability to connect with our members and to help add value there. So as a club growth director, I jumped in. What we've done well, I'll talk about my experiences as a Pathways guide, and then talk about what we've learned and what we're continuing to learn along the way. So just about 2 months now, in March, on March 20th, we became a pilot district. And what that meant is our program quality director, which is Christine Hobbs, she needed to come together quickly in collaboration with our chief ambassador to pull together teams. And just as Toastmasters International has been stating, teams of 10. So we would have several Pathways guys assigned to 10 clubs. And what Christine did that I thought was ingenious is that she really strategically looked at how she would partner the guys with the clubs. And I was fortunate enough to get all the new clubs. And what that meant is I did not have the experience, like the apprehension so much, largely because the new members clearly are unaware of the old system. So they're really engaged and excited about Pathways. And once they were able to see the different paths and what is available, they were even that much more excited and seemed to be very passionate about what Pathways could represent for them. So it actually encouraged me, and I've jumped in now, and I'm moving on to my level 3, my first path, so I'm excited about that. Now, what we learned, and we're very glad about, is the communication with Toastmasters International has been ongoing, and that's been very helpful for us. And I would even extend that if you're thinking about becoming a guide, or your district is looking at how you're going to roll it out, ensure that the communication is ongoing and that you're really connected with your members, so that when the guides and the ambassadors are reaching out to schedule and coordinate meetings to come in and to present, the clubs are just as excited to have them come in because it's been promoted and they are aware that a new system is coming. So that was one of the things that we learned. Make sure that you're communicating early and often, and continue to communicate. And then also for us, what was important is ensuring that the clubs understood, one, for us, we were coming in with slides. So we wanted to make sure that if there were questions, we were able to annotate those questions and take them back, get answers if we did not have the answers right on hand, and provide the information back to the clubs. So then we started immediately with what Toastmasters International has asked us, is to make sure that we're doing the virtual support sessions. So what I've been doing is working very closely with the 10 new clubs that I have and their vice president of education. And so each week we're getting tons of questions, and having to go back and we pulled together too. Something else I think that was really good is that we pulled together some of the guys and we're doing collaborative sessions. So you may have 2 or 3 guys on a call with, let's say now 30 different DPEs, and they're able to hear the questions and just kind of, answer back and forth. We'll answer the questions, get insight from other club members, and share that information amongst the group, if that makes sense. So it's been very beneficial for us. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about maybe where there are clubs where some members may be a little apprehensive, and how they are considering or looking at that is working with the clubs or the members in smaller doses. So introducing pathways incrementally until they get it rolled out in their district. They're thinking that would be very helpful, and I think it would be as well, because the newer members, they are fully engaged and really ready to get started with pathways. However, there are some cases, obviously, where change is not as welcomed, and so working with some of the members to help them get there sooner would be very helpful. And that's all I have. I see my green light. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can conclude that we learned a lot from the last. We learned a lot from the last 4 speech today, and I have to tell you that in my experience, whatever is not yet working on pathway is put on. Until yesterday, I couldn't use pathway on my iPhone, and I told myself, how come I told like ambassador that we will all use on iPhone even pathways, and we cannot. And yes, suddenly yesterday it was something which showed up on my screen telling me you have to let pop up on iPhone in your navigator. And I did, and suddenly it worked. So whatever doesn't work yesterday, it will work tomorrow. The program interface is ameliorating a lot. And now we will have our first evaluator, which is not other than our charter member and past international board member also, Dennis Woodridge. Up to you.
Thank you, Julie. I don't know, is George still around? Or is it? Oh, there you are, George. Okay. This is very interesting to me because it's the first time I've used the new evaluation form, and it's very different. I kind of like it, actually. It asks you to, what did you excel at, what might you want to work on, and how do you want to challenge yourself from the point of view of the evaluator. So I'll just go through those. You really excelled on keeping on topic. For a 20-minute speech, that sometimes gets a little difficult, especially when you're dealing with new material that other people aren't really familiar with. It's very easy to start meandering, down the path rather than staying on the path correctly. So I was very impressed with that. The use of the slides was very effective in explaining a difficult subject, because most of us, again, that are listening have not had any exposure to pathways. So it really gave a good idea of what you have to do along the way in a very brief kind of snapshot point of view. It was straightforward. It was informative. I thought your answers to the questions that were asked were very good, because they were, again, long and meandering, but they were very succinct and brevity there. Okay, things you might want to work on. Eye contact is difficult, as you can tell, because I'm not making very good eye contact in online clubs. So it might help to remember, and I'm not saying you didn't do this, I just think you can improve on it a little bit, to to keep in mind that we would like to see your eyes once in a while. So just keep that in mind. It says how to challenge yourself. Quite frankly, I don't know how you're going to do that unless you tap dance while you're giving the speech. So I was very impressed. It was very informative. Again, I think you've done a great service not only to members of Witty Storytellers, but to Toastmasters as a whole, and I hope a lot of people get to see this presentation. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, George, a lot. Our second evaluator is George Hecht, all the way from Oregon, one of our newest members in Witty Storytellers, and very active, but he has been in Toastmasters for many, many years already.
Well, thank you very much, Julie. And good evening, Toastmasters, and especially good evening, Paul. Paul, I have to tell you, when I saw your title, Turn, 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 the first thing I did was pick up my old record from the Byrds from 1965 and thought about what you might be talking about. I was really waiting for the continuation of that turn, turn, turn topic, and you delivered superbly. Again, I see why they have those three initials, DTM, after your name. They don't have them after mine because you're just a great speaker. Right off the bat, we got some great humor, and we got a great opportunity for you to tell some stories about your early experiences with music and the description of your piano teachers. And as you were describing them, I could see this picture in my mind perfectly. And you continued with that theme throughout the entire speech, just building on it, working on it, leaving it for a while, and then bringing it back. I just couldn't think of any other way to improve that constant going back to that turn, 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 and the biblical reference and the music reference. Just worked great. One of the things I think that would help is in our club, it would be great if we could do a little bit stronger job of giving the speaker a great introduction. But if the speaker doesn't hear their introduction, or maybe if they don't feel that it has been adequately done, sometimes I think it might be great for the speaker to jump in and say, I want to make sure you heard the name of my speech tonight, which is Turn, 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 and then continue on as you did with the story, because that would be, almost everyone knows that background. One of the things they pointed out during my icebreaker last night is there's an opportunity to move back from the camera a bit and actually involve your hands and also get some more body language. And so I noticed you were pretty close to the camera, and it was a great picture of your face. But sometimes as a speaker, some speakers have involved body language and they've been able to use that extra element. So I'd encourage you to try that. You had so many good parts to the speech overall that I just kept drinking it in, and I was just so excited to listen to it and just get the personal lessons that you drew out of it. Your eye contact, as I mentioned, was great. Your passion. I know you and I talked before, and you were a little bit concerned that you might be having a little low energy because it's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning where you are, and I didn't see any low energy at all. I hate to see you at a high energy time. You'd probably be like 3 cups of coffee. Paul, this was a great, hard, meaty summary of some very, very complex concepts for the Myers-Briggs and the DISC and other personality qualities that could go into speeches. And I just wanted to commend you for the fantastic job you had in weaving these all together around this common theme of turn, 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 time for a change, this musical concept, just superbly well done, and is a great, I hope we've made a recording of your presentation tonight for Witty Toastmasters because it was wonderful. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it very much.
Garoid was listening very attentively to Vicky's speech, and he jumped in last minute. Either of them is on pace ways, but each of them will judge each other on that evaluation sheet. So we can have some experience, like it would be a little bit a newcomer coming into the pathways, even if they have been there a long time in Toastmasters?
As Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, usually visiting guests, and especially Victoria, even expression here in Ireland, I actually heard it from my father, and it was the puppy for the path and the old dog for the hard road. And Victoria, you showed your total experience in Toastmasters came through in your icebreaker speech. All the box of tricks were released. I thought it was a terrific speech. It was beautifully structured, and that was one of the requirements of the icebreaker, is to learn how to structure your speech, but also give us an introduction to yourself. It was terrific from the start because you opened up with a rhetorical question. Who doesn't love the Beatles? I do. And that got us all, that drew us all in straight away. And a beautiful title as well, The Long and Winding Road. And what you did was a nice little trick. At the end, you went back and asked us more rhetorical questions. And you reiterated your message throughout about building relationships. As regards the objectives, if I was to go down through the objectives, who thinks that Victoria had a lovely singing voice? So that's a 5 for me straight away. You were lovely and clear throughout, and I think you have an amazing speaking voice, and it comes across so sincere. And what I really like too is that in the space of 4 to 6 minutes, you boiled down all your points so concisely that you were able to fit in so much about yourself, which is another art of Toastmasters, that less is more, but you managed to relay all the information in such a short space of time. So my recommendations would be, I'm not sure how familiar with GoToMeeting you are, but just the fact that you disappeared had us all a little bit in shock. We were wondering, so maybe that was inexperience with GoToMeeting. The other thing, I didn't get to see gestures because it was more constant. The way your camera was set up, it was more your head, and I'd love to see gestures along with it. And I think we'll all say that it could have been a little bit longer because I was enjoying it so much, and then your time was up. But I think you had a little bit of time to play with. What I really loved was you delivered with a beautiful, smiley and warm face, and you also brought in humor as well. So you said about your 3 grand puppies and your multi-national family, the way it branched out. You gave us insight into what you do as well, and your charity work. And you gave an example like Filipinos married to Muslims. And I'm so amazed that your experience, that you're able to show your experience through that speech. And also, going back to my first statement, pup for the path, the old dog for the hard road, you showed your ability that you're not afraid to come back and try out the new Pathways educational program, and to start off on the path again, which was brilliant. So in summary, I loved it. Beautiful structure. There was a message throughout. You used most Toastmasters tricks that were available to you. Your experience showed. If you're coming on again, you'll probably get to know GoToMeeting a little bit better. And I'd love to hear you speak again quite soon, because you're amazing. And I just wanted to wish you best of luck with the election as well. Madam Toastmaster.
Yes, Svetlana, are you ready to evaluate Brenda?
Oh, to evaluate Brenda. Sure.
Well, Brenda, you're such a confident speaker. You're so analytical. You're absolutely, confident is just one thing, but you're also very, very consistent in your style. And immediately, as part of audience, as a listener, I feel very comfortable. I feel in good hands, and I just receive. I listen to you, and I absorb the information. You have a manner of making your audience focus on what you're saying. I also, and I added this in the chat as well. I think sometimes we have a lot of impressionistic speeches, but today's your speech was extremely down to earth, specific. You gave advice to the guides. So your speech was really people who are already guides, who are already leaders and functionaries of the pathways. But I must say that you managed to convert a few people to become more involved in pathways as leaders, helping others as well. As a way of improvement, I think, as Julie already said, we could see your face better in the beginning, just like we see it now. And I would refer to Garoid's advice to Vicky. Come more often to go to meetings, and you will do it perfectly well. I really enjoyed your speech, and I'm so glad that we are recording it and it will be available. I think everybody will listen to it. I personally will listen to this meeting again.
Excellent.
Thank you very much for coming. Zelda, why are you not putting the green light? But I'm happy to say more and more about Brenda. Please come again, come more often. I think you are our member, aren't you? I want to listen to your stories, really, because we are focused on storytelling. And I'm so glad that storytelling is featured in Pathways as a genre, as a something that every Toastmaster should complete. So, my applause to you, and thank you.